So that was the policy of that government. And that government ran largely from, say, the 1920s to when we got independence. And during that period of time, the total number of housing units that were built were only 15,000 housing units. Then comes independence, and the government that came in at independence realized that once the colonialists left, we didn't have the workforce, we needed to get more people in the urban areas, and so the government encouraged people to move from rural areas to come to the urban areas. And there were incentives that were put then, including something which is called our rates and taxes were based on what was called an improved site valuation. In other words, even if you come and put up a structure like this one here, we don't charge you for the improvement, we charge you for an improved land, so that we encourage you to come and build. Around that time in the 60s, we come up with a housing policy. You've all probably heard about the story of Singapore. I'm not going to bore you with the story of Singapore, the story of Korea. And as a matter of fact, you probably have also heard that in the 60s, we even we gave a grant. Kenya gave a grant, I think, to Malaysia. So that's how things were in the 1960s.
When I went around Kenya, I came to the Diaspora. I made a commitment to do a couple of things for our country. Number one, I undertook that I was going to work on the economy, because the economy was battered, and it was battered for many reasons. One, we shut down our economy and country because of COVID. Our GDP went to zero. For a whole year, people were not working, and it affected our economies significantly. We had challenges with the war in Europe. We had problems of the longest drought, most severe drought that we ever had. We had floods. We had difficulties, and therefore the economy suffered.
My name is Ledamo Lekina. I'm the minority whip of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. You'll forgive my vocals. It was a small challenge, but I'll get through it. And I'm also the Senator of Narok County. And I think most of you who know me, I was once a very big critic of Mr. President. And I'm also a businessman and a philanthropist. And I once sat where you're sitting. I lived in the UK. I worked for Reuters. And I also worked for European Business News. I worked for the Sky News as well. I did quite a lot of work. And I also lived in America. So when you're sitting there, I know most of the time the news that you consume is what is fed to you, but it's not the reality. I'm so happy today that the President has been able to demonstrate, and Hinga, you've done a fantastic job in spreading the real gospel. We have an amazing country called Kenya. And today, when His Excellency and my party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, joined hands, I knew that my purpose was one, to make sure that we progress and we end what my good friend said there, divisive politics and the culture of politicking on a daily basis. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, because I'm one person who normally speak straight and I shoot from the hip. The trajectory that the President is now taking the country on reminds me of the founder of the Republic of Turkey, who was a general in the army. His name was, I think,
Kemal
Atatürk. Because he came in and he brought in changes that were so painful. I've traveled with the president in my county of Narok, and I said to the president, all I want is everything you've promised for you to deliver. Your Excellency, I pest a lot my good friend, the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, my good friend Churchill, when it comes to the issue of the roads, the airport in Narok. This is a language that I hope that when you call your brothers and sisters, the president just said, wow, the money you sent is so much that it cannot be wasted. I know you've got brothers and sisters who have got shops in Nairobi, shops that were vandalized last week by mediocrity, by demonstrations that don't make sense. When you call them, you tell them what we want now is to progress. We cannot continue. You know, and Mr. President, you need to be a bit tough. I mean, you know, we cannot continue with this kind of nonsense. Every so often, every day, people are in the streets and you don't even hear what they're saying. I wish there was a different story saying that, oh, this has not been done this way, we are going to do it this way. No. It is pure nonsense. So me, I want to challenge you. You guys send a lot of money. You know the bill, Your Excellency, how much was it? $4.9 billion? $4.9 billion. And that money pays for your mothers, your sisters there, and then somebody goes in there and just vandalizes their properties. It is very painful. So me, I've committed, and I say there's no nonsense in Narok. I've committed that we are progressing. We also want to be considered as a nation that can be able to bring in change. So when you hear some of these painful reforms which are being introduced, they are not being introduced for the sake of it. We are not fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for our children and the future generations. So I want to plead with you, and Henga continue doing the good job. Your Excellency, you are doing a good job. I've always said to you, if you do something wrong, I'll be the first one to tell you you're doing it wrong. But in this case, I've seen what is happening. It are things which are going on. My mother, who has been selling out in a market in Tulele, you know, outside in the sun, now has an opportunity to sell in an ESP market that has been set up by this government. We didn't have those markets. I have children who go to school abroad. I will change my Kenya shillings into dollars to send them to school. Before, it was too much. Now, it is affordable. So I want to please encourage you, as I end, that don't judge a book by its cover. Don't read and consume what is written by standard as a gospel truth. You need to be on the ground to understand what is happening, and I can assure you that it is beautiful.